Hey, I'm Mr. J, and this is a tutorial on how to use tubes properly. So, you're probably wondering, since you clicked on this video, how to use tubes the right way in Rec Room. Because all you know at the moment is probably this. And I started off like that too, like I friggin' didn't know how to use this at all. So in this video, I'm going to show you how to use tubes properly to make your games 10 times better. So first of all, there's, the default tube that you start off with. Now, what you probably did when you first saw the tube was do Now, that's not really the right way to use tubes. So I'm going to show you guys the proper way to use tubes. First of all, you need to know how to configure the tube to make it just right for what you're building. So what you're going to do first is, take out your maker pen either from your favorited back tool, or you go to your watch, go to backpack, and then use maker pen, close your watch, grab your maker pen. Now once you have your maker pen, what you're going to do is look at your maker pen palette, hit open palette, right? And then once you've got your palette open, just like this, and click on tube, right? And it'll bring this up, and then you can draw with tube. But the way to configure it is by going to this little button right up there. See that? Little configure button. If you click on that, it'll bring up a lot of stuff. So, let me walk you through it. So, as you can see, there's a lot of stuff going on here. Now, this is only the first page. See, there's 3 pages down here that'll go off to the side. This stuff doesn't really have too much to do with tubes. So, I'm going to skip this for now, but I'll come back here later. If you go to the second page here, this is all the tube stuff. Now, I'll go through this one by one. So, first of all, tube size. Basically, the default tube size is like this, right? But if I turn this down, it'll get small. And then big, right? So then it draws big. Or if I make it small, it'll draw small. Simple as that. So I'm going to set it to 4 centimeters. So then you got this, right? Next up is fixed tube width. Basically, it doesn't matter how hard or soft you press on the trigger of the maker pen, it'll always draw in the same thickness, right, of the tube. But if you deactivate that, now it depends on how soft or hard you press on the trigger to scale it up, as you can see right there. So I'm going to keep that activated. Next up, we got connect nearby tubes. Now, if that is activated, if I draw a tube, right, and then I let go, right, oh, I messed it up, but if I get close here, I can actually continue the tube. But if I have it deactivated, if I mess up, see, I can't continue that tube and it creates a whole new tube. So I'm going to keep that on as well. Next up, smooth tubes. This part's pretty cool. So you see how round and soft it looks, right? If I disable this, it turns it into like a regular looking shape. So then when I actually draw it, looks like that. So this is for more like actual builds or whatever, like if you want it to not be all smooth and stuff. Pretty much. I'll skip over tube height ratio for the second here. But tube facets is the big part. So you see how there's 3 sides to this triangle here? If I slide this over, it becomes 4. Now if I have smooth tubes on, it'll do that rounding thing. But if I have it off, then it's basically a cube that can be drawn. And that's pretty cool. Put it up to 5, you got this thing, which is really cool. And if you draw that, you got this, right? Look at that. Got your own little special shape. And then all the way up to this, which is basically a perfect circle, or, well, not a perfect circle, because, you know, this doesn't have smooth tubes on. Put on smooth tubes, then you got, like, a regular perfect pipe. So, you can change that to, like, 4 to get, like, a cool cube that doesn't have those edges on it, or curved edges that cubes usually have in Rec Room. Now, this top section is basically all the things you need to know about tubes, pretty much. Nothing here has anything to do with tubes either, but if you go back to the first page, you've got uniform shapes. Now, this is pretty cool, this option, because if I'm drawing something, it actually only makes one thing, only one pivot in it, or whatever it's called, so that it'll only stop drawing if I let go, and then if I have the connect nearby tubes thing on, I can draw that, so I get more precise edges. And it's not all messy, because if I have that off, right, it'll, if you have a shaky hand, then it goes all like that, right? But if you don't want that to happen, you can just use uniform shapes and get to do that. Which is pretty cool, not gonna lie. And then position snap is what you use when you're using grid. Now, grid is really good. If you don't know this already, the snapping thing up here, it's usually set to off when you're just using it regularly. So then you draw like, you know, regular, and then there's no grid to it. But if you use grid, see, it's set to grid, it'll draw in a grid style. See that? So you can get more precise stuff and make some pretty cool stuff with that as well. And then if you change this position snap slider, you can make it, you know, more snappy. See? It makes the grid bigger, basically. And then that's pretty much all there is to this. I'm going to keep this at 1. That's pretty much all the configuring options for the tube to get it more precise to what you want. Now I'm going to show you how to build with it. Now, my usual setup for the tubes is to have uniform shapes on, have tube facets at 4, have connect nearby tubes on, fixed tube width, smooth tubes off, right? And then, you know, tube size maybe 8 centimeters. So then you got this, right? See that? That's a good tube. So, how about we build a table? Okay, to start off, we're going to use the tube that I just told you the layout of, and make it to 4 centimeters, which is the middle setting right there. So you got this, right? And then I'm going to actually change the position snap to 5. Okay? So then, if I draw this, see, it does that, right? And since I have uniform shapes on, it'll do this. So if I draw down, I've got this, right? And then this is going to be the table leg. And now if I keep going... Oh, it kind of messed up there. I'm going to move that back down and reposition the camera. There we go, that's a bit better. So I'm going to keep editing this. And see, I have now a second leg right here. And then I'm going to make another tube. And then finally a little up thing like that. And then what I can do is I can click clone on my maker pen. Do that. And then I have 2 of them. And then I can rotate this to go that way. Maybe move it right there. And then use the select on my maker pen to select the other one. And then clone it again. Then rotate it. And move it into here. And then maybe use snapping off so I can get a more precise fit there. So now you got the bottom of the table, right? Now what you're going to want to do is open your palette, go to settings, right? your settings up there. Go over 1. I'm gonna go tube facets 10 now, right? And this is gonna be the top of the table. And then go back to configure, size 25. And then, that looks about good for the top of the table, right? Yeah. And then use snapping off. Oh, that was an accident. Use snapping off to move it into the perfect position on the top of the table legs. And then move it up a bit. And then I'm actually going to scale, use the scaling tool to scale that up a bit, so that we got a bigger tabletop. And now, remember, all of these need to be merged together if you want it to take up the least amount of ink and be one whole shape. So then we got basically a basic table made entirely out of tubes. And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to configure it, as you can see on this thing right here. Make sure it's not grabbable, and that the thing up here, you probably shouldn't leave it on environment because tubes have messy hitboxes. So I'd recommend changing it to decoration. And then I'm going to scale it up a little bit more. Perfect. Oh. And remember to keep it on grid when you're moving it with your hand or whatever to put it on the ground. And then I can edit it again. Get a good color from the little color palette thing here. And then recolor everything. And then done! We got a nice looking table. And that's the basics of how to use tubes properly. To make objects and stuff like that. Now, this next part here that I'm going to do is to show how to outline slightly better as well using tubes. I see you like the table. So you've probably seen some really good outlines in the Invention store. But when you try to make your own, they're all kind of like messy and have imperfections. I'm going to show you how to fix that. So first of all, take a picture of whatever you want. Probably like your face or something like that. I'll go with my face. So here, I'll take out my camera, point it at my face, and go, cheese. There we go. That's perfect. And then you gotta picture yourself, right? And what you want to do is take out your Maker Pen, select it, right? So you got it. I'm gonna put it over here, and then I'm gonna scale it up. So it's pretty big, right? That's good. And then I'm gonna freeze it so that it's frozen. Now, what you're gonna want to do is take out your Maker Pen, right? And then go to use your tubes, right? If I go change my tube facets to 4, maybe change my tube size to 2, and then here's another thing that you should probably know about. Tube height ratio basically changes the thickness or whatever of it and basically makes it thinner. See that? Yeah, so I'm going to keep it on 50% for this. And then what you're going to want to do is pick out your color that you want. I'm going to go with maybe like a yellow. Now the main key part to this is to have uniform shapes on, right? And then to go on your Maker Pen, and then change the little snapping thing on your Maker Pen to surface. Now basically, it'll draw that little tube on the surface of anything. Now basically what that means is this'll happen. See, I don't even have to get up close to the thing. I can just start outlining it from anywhere, and it'll automatically, see, stick to any surface. You see that? And then I can outline my face with ease. So I'm gonna do a little montage here showing you how to outline this. There, done. Don't think it looks the greatest, but it's pretty good, I guess. Now, all I gotta do is unfreeze the image in the background, delete it, and boom! We got an outline of my face. Now, one more thing we gotta do before we save it as an invention is configure it and change it to decoration. Boom! Now you got an outline. And those are the basics on what you need to know about tubes. Thanks for watching. Hopefully this helped. I'm not that good at explaining stuff, so I hope you understood most of it, at least. But thanks for watching. If you liked the video, which I hope you did, consider subscribing if you aren't subscribed. Please. And have a good rest of your day. Bye.